Hello and welcome back to my channel. So I told myself that if I found two pairs of jeans that matched in color today at the thrift store, that I'd make myself a pair of overalls, and guess what? Not only did I find two of the exact same jeans, but I found two separate pairs of two of the exact same jeans. Like, what are the chances of that happening? So today I'm going to be making myself a pair of overalls. I decided to use these Rustler jeans for my overalls, which I got from the men's section, by the way. They're both the same size and have a mom jeans fit. I would have preferred a looser fit, but when you find two of the same exact jeans in a thrift store, you get what you get. I ran these through the wash, and I'm gonna sit one aside and start by seam ripping the belt loops from the front waistband and the waistband from the front of the jeans. I seam ripped it just enough to clear the side seams. Now that I have the waistband off the front of my jeans, I'm going to work on adding button plackets to the side seams. So I went and seam ripped that side seam about 4 inches down. Then I cut two strips from the waistband about 3.5 inches long each, and I serged the bottom edge of each one. I'm going to sit one aside to use for the other side later. And I trimmed the excess fabric from the side so that there was only a 1/4 inch seam allowance on there, and pinned this piece to it like this, and I went and sewed that on. I made sure I left enough on the waistband when I cut these from it because I'm going to sew the waistband to this. First, I folded it right sides facing and stitched the ends together. I cut the excess fabric from the corner and turned this right side out. Then I sandwiched the top edge of that piece I added in there and stitched it in place. And now I need a facing on this side, so I cut a 3.5 inch piece from the other side of the front waistband, and I cut that in half and put one of these halves aside to use later for the other side. I'm going to sew this to this side, right sides facing. Then I folded this to the inside, and I'm going to go and stitch a buttonhole on here. These are the jean buttons I'm going to be using for this project. I got these from Hobby Lobby and they're hammer on. I'm just going to follow the instructions on the back of the pack to install them. I put one of the buttons from this pack in my buttonhole foot and stitched that buttonhole about 1.5 inches down from the top edge, and I went and did 2 rows of top stitching alongside that edge as far down as I could go. Then I stitched the front and back together up and around like this. I seam ripped open that buttonhole and marked through the buttonhole where I needed the button to go. Then I added my button. Now I'm going to go and do the same exact thing with the other side. I tried these on and made sure I can get in and out of them without opening the zipper in the middle, and I can. So now I'm going to go and rip out the zipper and stitch close the zipper fly. I also took out the zipper fly shield because we don't need all that extra bulk in there, and I serged this raw edge here I seam ripped the zipper fly from and stitched that down. I think the trick to making overalls look store-bought versus DIY'd is to incorporate some of that distressed and faded look in the jeans into the top of the overalls as well. And I'm going to do that by cutting the front from the bottom of the jeans. So this is going to be the top edge of my overalls after I cut it from here. So then I'll have this faded and distressed look at the top as well as at the bottom of the jeans, and I think that's going to bring it all together. I ended up with this piece, which is 13.5 inches long, and I went and double folded the sides and top stitched those in place. Then I cut my pocket from the other bottom leg of the jeans so that I could get this faded edge on top, and I cut a little pocket for this pocket because I want my pocket to look like this one. I seam ripped the outer stitching and tucked this pocket in there, and before I stitch that down, I hammered down the bulky areas because it actually does help flatten things out and move better through the machine. I pressed in those edges and then I hammered down those bulky edges. This might look crazy, but try it out next time you're working with bulky seams and you'll see the difference it makes. I'm really excited about how this turned out. It's looking really cute. I'm gonna go and get it attached to the front of my pants. I pinned this wrong sides facing to the front of the pants like this and stitched the two together. This raw edge is kind of cute, but I seam ripped the back of the waistband from my second pair of jeans, and I'm going to sew it onto the front like this. I pinned the waistband to the seam like this, making sure to leave at least ½ inch hanging over at each end. This is a little bit bulky, so I'm hoping that my machine can manage because it's going to be so cute once this is sewn on. I put a fresh new needle on there. I think that the machine can do it. So let's see. We did it and it was smooth, no problems at all sewing through that. So the Singer Heavy Duty might actually be a legit heavy duty machine. Now I'm going to go and fold this over and top stitch it down, but first we need to finish these ends. So I folded the end of the waistband right sides facing and top stitched the edges together like this. I trimmed that excess fabric in the corner and turned this right side out. Then I pinned it down to the front and top stitched this in place around the entire perimeter of the waistband, using my hump jumper to help get over extra bulky areas, and I stitched my belt loops back into place. And I went and sewed a buttonhole at each end of the waistband. I seam ripped that buttonhole open and added my button, and this is the result. I'm so happy with the results I have going on here, and I just got the greatest idea for the back. I'm gonna take the pockets from the other pair of jeans and I'm going to use that for the top of the back, like that, but in the back. And I just think that's going to be so cute. Like, just imagine it, picture this at the top back of the overalls. Like, how cute is that gonna be? I'm so hyped that I got this idea because, like, now I get to use these pockets and I get to add some of the distressed look to the back as well. So let's go ahead and work on the back of these overalls. I went and cut out a lower back piece and I double folded the sides and stitched those in place. Then I went and cut 2 shoulder straps for my jeans. I ended up changing out the shoulder straps later, so I'm not going to really explain it here, but I went and stitched the shoulder straps to the bottom of the pocket, right sides facing like this. And I also went and seam ripped the other back pocket from those jeans so that I could sandwich the lower back piece between them like this, right sides facing. Then I pinned the pockets together, tucking in those raw edges like this, and I did 2 rows of top stitching around the edge. I went and pinned the back to the inside of the waistband so that the raw edge is sitting 1/4 inch over the bottom row of stitching on the waistband, and I stitched that into place from the right side of the waistband along that bottom row of stitching. Then I pinned the waistband down like I did in the front, and I top stitched that in place along the edge and sewed my belt loops back in place. The other shoulder straps were too bulky, so I cut new ones as long as I could with what I had left of the jeans, and I double folded the sides so that once it was stitched in place, the top of the straps would be 1 1/4 inch wide and slowly progress into being 3 inches wide at the bottom edge. I top stitched those sides in place and then added my strap adjuster and my overall buckle. Then I went and added my buttons to the top edge of the front. When I tried on these overalls, the lack of distressing on the sides and around the front pocket was really bothering me, and I was trying not to let it bother me because I know it's going to fade eventually over time with wear and wash, but it just did not look right to me, that not being distressed like the other edges on this pair of overalls. So I thought to bleach them, but I recently ruined a nice denim dress I just made trying to bleach and distress the edges like that. So I came up with a different idea or solution to add distressing to those edges. I took the distressed sides left from the jeans I used to make the top of the overalls, and some from my denim scraps that I have just saved because I do have a little bag of denim scraps. And I sewed on these as my edges. I did lose the corners in my front pocket doing this, and the corners are rounded now, but that's okay because now it all looks uniform to me, and that completes this project.